I think the position was, I'm gonna have to look it up. What was that position? It was a campus-wide election, and with people campaign, and they stand up in front of the student center and have the little bullhorns, and they have campaign tournament. It was a really, really nice event that created, a buzz on campus, and everybody who was running for it, they just kind of had like a little mini uh, 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 election campaign. I wasn't involved with it. Somebody wrote me as I was a write-in candidate, and I'm walking across campus, and somebody one day said, "Congratulations." And I said, "For what?" And somehow I know I was voted Mr. Volunteer or Mr. Um, whatever it was. And it was an honor because it was something that I wasn't aware at Tennessee Martin. I went there in 68, 69. I set out that year and the next year that when they had the election sometime in the spring. So it was an honor and a privilege, and just kind of put me in a position where I had to make sure I stayed on my P's and Q's. now everybody knew me. So I could be Leonard Hamilton. I had to be Leonard Hamilton number two.
So, Coach, tell us what you've been doing for the past couple months.
Well, I'm getting ready to get ready to get ready. Okay. I have a lot of things that I'm interested in doing, but I'm getting organized. I mean, I've had several meetings all over the country with things, but in reality, the last 3 weeks, I've been exceptionally busy because the ACC and Raycom doing a documentary on me to be released sometime in February, and I've been pretty occupied with that. We Last weekend I was in Gastonia, North Carolina, at my high school, my recreation center where I spent all the time, the church that I grew up in, the church that we moved to, and then I spoke at an event in Shelby, Saturday at Hollywood Park. I mean, not no, at Gardner Webb University for an event honoring the top 50 basketball players, I think from 1965 to the 1990 something. And so that occupied me last week. The week before that, I had the network came here, and we did some gospel stuff, music in my basement with the recording artists that record on my label, and went down to the school and did some more memorable stuff there in the locker room and on the court and over in the practice facility. Then the week before that, I was in Clarksville, Tennessee. They had gone to Lexington, Kentucky, and they come down to Clarksville, and then I had to go down to UT Martin where I went to school. So they did a pretty extensive thing there. I think I had 5 speaking engagements in 3 days while I was there. So it kept me pretty occupied. And this last weekend, so I think I have a little bit more time. But prior to that, I've been looking at some podcasts and several different business ventures that I'm considering. Um, and so I'm probably a week away from getting organized in my thoughts and making sure that I do something meaningful for the community, something I'd feel good about, where I'm still staying with the thing that I've always stayed with, trying to find some way to help people less fortunate, you know, get a pretty good start. I have some ministry stuff I want to do. I have some educational stuff I want to do. And I've been doing a lot um, of Zooms with younger basketball coaches all over the country. I think I did two this week, a couple last week, of guys who I'm just trying to give back some of the stuff that people gave to me. And so I've been probably a little more, I've been to several FSU practices. I'm very, very impressed with what Luke's doing and his staff. Every time I go, it seems as though they're getting better. I love the camaraderie and the work ethic and the focus of his players. Um, they seem to uh, they have a system that they believe in. Obviously, shooting the three is the theme of what they're doing, and they have guys who are very capable of exploiting that type of style, which being a threat from a three-point line opens up driving lanes and it spreads the floor. So I think it's a very good system that's going to give them a chance maybe to have a chance with most people because you have to spread the floor so much to guard them. And I'm very impressed with what they're doing, and I think they ought to be complimented for having the the evaluation skills to go out and recruit kids who fit just the way they want to play. So I'm excited about them. I've been to I went to the Alcorn State game. I enjoyed it. And hopefully I'll be able to attend most of the games this year. At least that's what my plans are. Don't everybody raise their hands at once?
Leonard, first of all, congratulations on retirement, at least this part of it. What is it, did you feel an itch like when practice was starting? Did you feel like I'm supposed to be for 50 years you've been doing basketball practice? Well, shoot, since your playing days, over 60 plus years, you've been every this time of year getting ready for basketball season. Did you feel an itch at all?
That's the only thing that's made me kind of sad, to be honest with you, that I am the atmosphere that we're dealing with, the what has been created has really it kind of for me personally, and I think all you guys know, I absolutely love what I did for a living. I enjoyed the relationship with the kids and their families and their kids, and I've had a wonderful, wonderful ride. God has blessed me so much to have had the opportunity to do something that I love, like basketball. I mean, the lives that we have as a family, we've been able to touch, the relationships that we built. I mean, for all those guys to come back and share that my last home game with me was something that I get emotional every time I think about it. Those nine players that came to spend the weekend with me for that last game that I played with in 1969, and bringing their wives and Solomon Ollie bringing his entire family all the way from Seattle and guys from all the different schools, even from my high school. That meant an awful lot to me and my family. It was kind of overwhelming. But the climate that we're dealing with now has kind of stole the joy. It was stealing the joy for me. The support that you have to have to compete at the highest level in a league that with such rich traditional basketball successful programs and the commitment that it has to be made to be able to compete. You know, you get at the highest level, it was somewhat challenging. And more than anything else, when you look at, I'm not as disappointed about the NIL, I'm concerned that the guidelines was not properly given so that there could be some order to that process. I'm just disappointed that there's no more level playing field. I think it's going to be very hard for the school in Chicago that went to the Final Four. It's going to be hard for smaller schools to participate. And I think one of the greatest things about the NCAA tournament that every school in the country could start off thinking that we all had a chance to win a national title. And it's kind of taken away those opportunities because very few everybody can't compete at that level that has gotten to. Now, I don't want to come across like I'm not for kids receiving benefits. That would be the worst thing that I think I could do because there are kids who deserve and people who need to have some assistance for the time spent. So I'm not saying that, but when you think about basketball, let's just talk about college basketball. If 3,000 kids put their name in the portal, and I think it's 39.8%, close to 40%, do not get scholarship offers. What's that number?
1,200.
1,200. So 1,200 kids times 5 years, that's 600 kids, right? 6,000 kids, right? So you got 6,000 kids now who didn't get a scholarship offer. Now I'm sure somewhere, they might get picked up here and there, but that's what the rule has been for the last couple of years. And I don't mean to insult nobody from a racial standpoint, but 85% of those kids are going to be black. So how is that healthy for the sport? I mean, what were we thinking when we put our kids in a position where you have the availability of those choices that are not healthy when you always think the grass is greener on the other side. And we highlight the ones that transfer and do well, but then what nobody keeps in statistics on the ones who transferred, who having less success where they transferred than they were where they came from. I mean, that whole atmosphere. In other words, you have put it in medical terms. I mean, you putting this carrot in front of them, and the carrot keeps moving. I mean, if you're a young man making decisions, and I know all you guys I see, y'all all made perfect decisions when y'all was 17, 18, 19 years old. They look at you now, y'all were just perfect. You didn't make any mistakes. But when you have a person who maybe, let's say, not well and suffering from diabetes and has some illness and maybe need to lose some weight, and every morning he gets up, you got a chocolate cake in front of him. I mean, that's just the way what is happening. You dangling this stuff in front of these kids, and so it's going to be difficult to maintain the chemistry and the culture on your team when a kid is a great player in high school and he thinks he's going to this school because they're losing some seniors in, and you got a mid-major player coming in that's 21, 22 years old, is older, stronger, more experienced, maybe not be as talented as the younger kid, and that's who an 18-year-old kid is coming. And then so he's upset and he's concerned, and with NIL and opportunity to transfer at the end of the season. I mean, now you're putting that kid in a situation where, that he's looking at his options. So you're trying to beat Duke and Carolina in January and February, and those kids are trying to figure out where they're going to be in April. I mean, so it's just created some dynamics along with now having to figure out a way that have the funds to compete with everybody, it all kind of sapped the joy out of all those things that are so meaningful in the business that you enjoy. And so I'm still kind of recovering from that, and I will, because I normally don't let things bother me, but going through the year and understanding how things have changed, I think it was time for me to, to um, to maybe make a change in life, and it becomes a time, and I think this was a good time for me. But I don't like the fact that I left with having to deal with those challenges that made it a little more uh, less enjoyable because of the decisions that were made by people I'm not really sure were coaches. People who was involved in the process. And I'm also disappointed, not with the NCAA, but the process. And I realized that there were smart, well-meaning people in those rooms who made those decisions. But I know it's gonna get better. I know somebody's gonna figure out a way, to recover from the atmosphere that we're dealing with there, but maybe it's here to stay. And so it might be something we just have to live with, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the one that's out of touch and looking at it incorrectly. So, but there's no doubt that I'm flipping the TV all last night, watching one game after another after another. I check on all the players who have transferred, and I miss them. To say I don't miss it would not be honest, because but I feel good, because I think it was time for me to move on to the next chapter of my life. So, and for me to be disappointed about that would be blasphemy, because I enjoyed it for so many years, and I was just so blessed, to be able to enjoy the opportunity that I was blessed with. So, and that's a long answer for what I've been doing and what my mind is. But I'm looking forward to the next chapter. That's why I'm taking my time, analyzing what's best, what I would enjoy, and see what fits my personality. But I'll be doing some things that I think that will hopefully make it better for some people. I've been really preaching about mentorship and the power of mentorship, and that's been the theme of all the talks that I've given, because I think that has really made a difference in my life, having some mentors that stimulated my thought process and allowed me sometime to make better decisions.
Chris Nee?
You're one of Luke's great mentors when he talks about that. You, Coach Brown, a few others that he's dealt with over the years. For you, what has it been like to watch him evolve into a college head coach, and spend time with him at practices and watch him actually coach in games now for Florida State?
Well, in life, you're very fortunate if you can fulfill your purpose. God has a purpose for all of us. And you honor him by trying to find out what that purpose is and fulfilling it. And how you're fulfilling that purpose is when this piece of understanding comes over you and you feel good about what you do every day. And when I look at Luke and I think about him as a youngster coming to school, Luke is fulfilling his purpose, because he came here as a freshman playing high school quarterback basketball. He was always a thinking player. He was always a good leader who made good decisions. As as a freshman, obviously he was throwing the ball all over the court, hitting cheerleaders and everybody else. But as he gained more experience, he's a great decision maker. He thinks things through. He doesn't rattle easily. He believes in himself. And he believes in uh, the philosophy that he has, and you feel it and you see it. He walks like it. He talks like it, and think you see him and you feel good that he has a plan. So I'm so proud of him, more than anything else, but the way he mentally approaches the thing and way he approaches it. He's verbal. His communication with his players are second to none. And he surrounded himself with people who believe in him and who he believes in. They got great chemistry on their staff. He doesn't mind getting his hands dirty. He'll get into dirty work. I mean, he's gonna be respectful to the kids, but he'll hold them accountable for when they need to be held accountable. And he loves Florida State. I mean, this is something that he really wanted, and I compliment the administration for having the mindset to mix his love for basketball, his knowledge, and his love for Florida State together. His wife obviously was a student athlete here. It's just a great story, and I know he's going to be successful. You know, I texted him after the Florida game, and just told him I thought every time that I see them play, they're getting better. Every time I go to practice, they're getting better, and the work ethic is just a matter of time. And you guys need to understand this: it's not easy doing what he's doing, because when you look at bringing in this many transfers from different walks of life and different systems, different programs, and with a whole new coaching staff, and trying to mix it together, trying to mess them together in a unit where you all on the same page is not easy. And his staff has done a great job of locating the players to fulfill the way they want to play, but then the chemistry, the utilizing the depth with a new system, I just think it was masterful. That for him to be able to bring all of that together, and I think it's just a matter of time. You know, hopefully it'll be this year, which would be a miracle in this day and time. And then you have to sustain it with the challenges you're dealing with, you know, with the NIL and the portal. So he needs high praise for where he is and what they're doing. And I think the future is very bright for Florida State basketball.
Bob Ferrante?
Hey, Coach, curious about Luke was a much more of a facilitator back in his playing days and not so much of a three-point shooting guy. But curious about this philosophy that he's picked up in the NBA about the value of spacing the court and using the three ball as a real strength, taking those shots and being as efficient as possible with it. How did you maybe have those early conversations in his career about how you can truly shape that philosophically and bring some of these NBA concepts to college ball like a lot of coaches are doing these days?
Well, Luke had a little bit to do with helping me with my philosophy. When we went to Greece, and we were a pretty good defensive team, pretty good basketball team. And those older, more matured players moved the ball so well. I mean, it was almost impossible to defend them, even though I had a good defensive team, ball movement and player movement. And at the time, Luke was at Golden State, and we had this conversation, and they were making their philosophy at Golden State. I think they were making 300 plus passes per game. moving the ball. And if you remember during that era, before KD went there, they were winning games by 20 and 25 points against really, really good basketball teams because they were moving the ball and moving their bodies, and they had three-point shooters. So I think that has grown, and they could be a little more selective. And in college, now with the development of the three-point shot, there are a lot of guys who might not be strong in some areas, but they really can shoot the ball and spreading the floor. And so with us going to Greece and then being able to try to find some semblance of what they were doing at Golden State, and when they would play bad games, I would call him and he said, "Well, we only made 175 passes in the game that we lost." But when they moved the ball 300 plus times, they very seldom ever lost, and that has not been the style that the NBA has normally used. Sometimes it's been, for years, it's walk the ball down the court, throw the ball to the post guy, wait for the help to come, and then pass it out. But now it's more movement, more college-like. So I love that style. We were not blessed with as many good three-point shooters as he has on his team. But when I look back at some of our games, I felt that we had evolved in a similar fashion, not to the extent where they're shooting threes now. So I think his philosophy is good. I think that it's going to be exciting to watch. It's going to be, his kids going to enjoy playing that style. Everybody wants to shoot the ball. And I think right now it is shown the possibilities of really, really creating problems for people, because if you're not there on the catch, they have the freedom to shoot it, and I think it's going to make a huge difference in success moving forward.
Go to Liam from the Democrat.
Coach, getting the chance to get honored on Tuesday. I know you talked about earlier that last game, how meaningful that was to you, but what will this be, being able to come back? I know you were at the game against Alcorn State, but being able to get out there and get honored in front of the fans again.
I think you guys know me. I'm not a guy who seeks out attention. That has not been my style. And I'm just, for me personally, I'm just grateful for the opportunity Florida State gave me. I worked for a lot of ADs. I worked for a lot of different administrations. That to have the opportunity to do something that you love, that's meaningful, to help teenagers in the young adulthood, it has been one of the most enjoyable things for me and my family. And so I'm proud to have represented Florida State. This is a unique atmosphere that we have here. I'm grateful for the support that we had over the years. I'm grateful for the players, the parents who trusted me with their most precious gift, their child, to be a mentor and a surrogate parent for them for 3 or 4 years while they're here at Florida State. I'm so grateful and I'm honored for them to even recognize me in any way, shape, or form. But I should be honoring them. I should be thanking them, because I really feel that I've had a unique and special opportunity for 23 years to be a part of a community that has embraced me and my family. My daughter went to school here, got a double major, and has helped spearhead her career. My wife has been a Bible study teacher here for 20, 22 of the years that we've been here. So she's been embraced by the Christian community and had a chance to lead women and Bible study fellowship, international study group that has the same lesson every week all over the world. So this has been good. That's why we are endowing some scholarships here on campus for first generation students. So we indebted. Tallahassee is my home. Matter of fact, we'll probably be building a new house here to accommodate the elderly. Hey, with elevators. Anyway, I'm honored. I can't say enough about how honored I am to have been representing Florida State, and I'm proud to call myself a Seminole.
St. Clair, if you're still here, you're up.
Wake up, St. Clair.
I'm wide awake, Coach. So, good morning. Just to back you up a little bit, Coach, you mentioned something, and I just kind of want to talk a little bit about some of the things you've been doing while you've been out. You mentioned something about a record label. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, I have a gospel label, a label called Five Oceans, and reason I named it Five Oceans because I think oceans touch just about all parts of the world. And I think that it has all these different species in the ocean, and I want our music to touch everybody. So I'm going to be expanding that, and maybe even to doing some different types of music along with gospel music on our label. So that's part of my plan. But before I step out aggressively, I want to have everything organized and in place because I don't think we need a basketball coach making music executive decisions. Something might go wrong, and so I want to have a well organized plan in the music area. But what we did in the documentary, we just wanted to have some fun and then maybe have some music take us in and out of commercials. But that's how I grew up, never living more than 40 yards from my church, from a child on to young adulthood. Every time the door opened in the church, I was in it in some capacity. I remember as a child, maybe 3 and maybe 4 years old, as young as that, because my aunt lived in front of the church and we actually lived a block from the church. So it was my mother could stand on the porch and watch me walk up the street to get to the yield sign, look to the right, look to the left, and then scoot across the street with my aunt who lives right in front of the church, Aunt Jody, and they made sure I was safe. She'd give me a nickel to play in Sunday school and a dime to play in the regular collection. And it was Sunday school, BTU, Bible's Training Union. It was the Bible school in the summer. It was the Usher board, the choir, the junior choir, the junior Usher board, the fellowship choir, and the Easter programs, the Christmas programs. I mean, whatever was going on in the church, I was involved in it. We were as a community. And I think the moral compass that I developed during that era growing up was significant to a lot of the decisions for me not making a lot of decisions that probably wasn't in my best interest. And like I said, I'm not like Nee, who got this halo on his head, lived by the foot of the cross. I wasn't quite that way. But I think what I learned what I took from those experiences has made a lot of difference in my life, my children's life, and my wife Claudette's life. So the religious experience has meant an awful lot to me, and there's no way, in my opinion, I could have come from where I came and have enjoyed the success that I've had if my steps were not ordered by the Lord, because a lot of folks in my era coming through segregation didn't make it, and a lot of the people I grew up with didn't make it. But I think I've always feel like I've had this hedge of protection around me where I've been protected from some of the bad decisions that I would have made and that I have made and that I had to learn from. So the religious experience is definitely highlighted in my life, and I'm not ashamed of it at all.
Go to Aslan. Okay. Go to Ryan Kelly.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to ask about the scholarship endowment that you brought up. I know you had the big kickoff in the moon around the end of spring, beginning of summer. How's
Yes.
that gone, and how rewarding has that been?
Well, I realize the focus that a first generation kid going to college, the, the, the dreams that they have and the stress that they encounter from realizing they need to get the education, but financially they are not in a position to be guaranteed how that's going to work. My mother went to the seventh grade. My father went to the ninth grade. My father probably was one of the more intelligent people that I've ever met, but he did not have the education. And my mother was profoundly a religious person. She read the Bible all the time and took her notes. But my father was very bright, and he resented the fact that he was training college graduates how to do their job, and he couldn't be paid the same thing because he didn't have the credentials to to justify that level of employment because academically he had not educated himself formally, even though he could. My father could take a engine out of a car and put it back in, never had to go to the garage. He just had that aptitude. So I remember as a youngster myself, my father telling me that I had to get my family, I had to get my education so they I wouldn't have to go through the experiences that they had to endure. And have an opportunity to get a scholarship was my driving force of how hard I had to work in order to earn that. So having the opportunity to get my education, not only did it satisfy my parents' dreams, it also set the table for my brothers and sisters. So I graduate, I adopt my brother Willie. He goes to school, he graduates, he meets his wife in college, and both of his kids go to college. I adopted my brother Barry. Barry goes to college. John was too old for me to adopt, but he went to college, and my sister went to college, and her son went to college. It changed the whole culture of our family by me being able to get my education. And so to me and Claudette, we realize how important that is. And so we want to do something to 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 give back to what we know is such a needed cause, trying to help somebody get the education so they can hopefully change the culture of their family. What we intend to do is, yeah, our goal is to be able to help first generation students who qualify for financial aid. Florida State has one of the best mentorship programs that I've ever seen, ever heard of for youngsters who fall into that category. And I've been over to their offices and watch what they do. Oh my gosh, it's just so refreshing to know that if we provide a scholarship and along with financial aid and the support that they can get from Florida State will give us kids an opportunity to be successful. And so we trying to come up with a figure. Well, we've already decided that we need significantly more money than what we were raised earlier. So we're definitely working on that, and hopefully in the next month or so, we'll be able to start looking at how we're going to facilitate this initiative for the upcoming school year.
Allison, I see you're on. Do you have any questions for Coach?
She
Okay.
had to hop off, Chuck.
All right. Any follow-ups from anybody at all? Any last words, Coach?
Yeah, I want to know do y'all miss me?
Of course.
Missed the time in the office.
I know, man. No. I'm hopefully I have an organized plan here a little bit that I'll be able to discuss specifically with you guys and let you know what I'm doing. You know, I want to do some things that are a little bit out of the box a little bit from an educational standpoint in the community, and I have a couple of ministry things that I think would be beneficial so that I can be involved a little bit more in that area. And then I still want to maintain, I realize a lot of a lot of younger coaches gosh, I was on the phone yesterday with Zoom for about 300 junior college coaches, and I had another big Zoom with a head coach last night and last week. So I want to be able to give back to continue using my experience in the mistakes that I made, the wisdom that I gained from the mistakes that I made. Hopefully, I can pass those along to some people that they can avoid some of the decisions that I made. So I'm all in with both feet. What did it say? 10 toes. I'm in. So anytime you guys need me, don't hesitate to call.
Hey, Coach, I did have one more question real quick.
All right.
Charlie Ward getting to be the head coach at Florida A&M, and I know that, it's been so long since Florida State and Florida and A&M have played. Were you glad to see them actually do that? And how excited are you to see what Charlie can do at Florida A&M?
Well, there's no doubt that Charlie Ward is probably one of the most beloved people in our community. I have no doubt that he's going to be successful. So this gives, to be honest with you, it kind of gives us a little reason in the community to really support both schools. I mean, it's probably at least 3 people that I know off of Florida State staff that's over there working their butt off. And I think there's no doubt in my mind, over a period of time, he'll get that program to the high level that everyone can be happy with. So, it's kind of a mixture now, to be very honest with you. And I was glad to see them reunite and start developing a relationship. I think maybe it's time, for them to reacquaint themselves and with each other and find some way to uplift basketball in the community to a higher level. Regardless of what you say, that's still a work in progress.
Right.
I mean, I've been every once in a while. I'm a YouTube guy, and I go back and I watch some of the games that we played in the past, and the crowd, the support, the atmosphere, and that existed there in the community while we was playing some really good basketball. And I was looking on some game the other day, and I think Dick Vitale was raving that we was 59 or something and 3 at home during that period. I mean, those are things that I think our program can get back to and be consistent with. And I just think it would be good for the youngsters in our community to be motivated and inspired by both programs doing well and creating that atmosphere where basketball is equally as important. And you guys don't realize this, because, it's hard. I can't say all of you don't, but it's hard to realize the atmosphere of basketball in other states like Indiana and Kentucky and Carolina. I mean, when you look back at it, I remember back in my career at the University of Kentucky in the 80s, I would go to high school basketball games with 8,000 people at a high school basketball game in Indiana. What I'm saying is that's almost, you can't realize that doesn't exist all over the country. But that's how kids grow up in Kentucky. So, and I think that's inspired by, number one, the college teams and the high school teams, and it gives kids something to look forward to. It means an awful lot to people in those communities, and it starts with what's being done on the college level that hopefully inspires the high school level, which goes down to the junior high and the elementary school levels, where people are inspired by what they experience. So I'm glad to see that those are the residual effects of it that you really can't see at the other level. But anytime you can motivate youngsters and inspire them to want to be like something, are going to do better in their grades because they want to go to college somewhere and play basketball, it's all good. I lived that journey.
All right.
Coach,
Any follow-ups at all?
just as a real quick follow-up to that, Coach, with Florida State and FAMU getting back together on the court, is that something that you and Coach McCullum ever discussed?
No, not really. I had a different philosophy about it that worked for the time and the era for me when I got here. But I think now it's time. I think it's an excellent time with Charlie being there. I think the blend the programs and do things to uplift basketball in the community. I think it's just time. I thought what they did was just perfect. I wasn't as confident of that when I first came to Tallahassee.
All right, everybody all set?
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Leonard.
Coach,
Good to
thanks
talk
for
to
your
you.
time.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Coach.
you.
Sorry I was late, but my hair looked pretty, right?
You
Your
look
hair looks
great.
great. Looks